The real reason, the galaxy calls human rescue teams. When all hope is lost, Commander Olivia Daniels stretched in her chair and looked out the wide viewport of Earth Station Alpha. The stars shined bright against the darkness of space. After 16 straight missions, this was her first day off in 3 months. She planned to enjoy every minute of it. The space station hummed quietly around her. Most of the crew were either working or sleeping. Olivia had found a quiet corner in the observation deck where she could drink her coffee in peace. Real coffee, not the synthetic stuff they had on missions. She closed her eyes and savored the taste. Her wrist communicator buzzed loudly, breaking the silence. Olivia groaned. Only emergency calls could get through when she set her status to off-duty. "Commander Daniels," she answered, already knowing her peaceful day was over. The face of Ambassador Zilk Tuar appeared as a small hologram above her wrist. The Cephalan diplomat's skin was a pale blue, with 12 small tentacles framing his face like a moving beard. His large eyes blinked nervously. "Commander Daniels, we need your help. We have an emergency situation on Proxima Centauri's mining colony." Olivia sighed. "With all due respect, Ambassador, the Interstellar Emergency Response Unit has more than 20 teams. I'm sure another team can handle it." The ambassador's tentacles twisted in what Olivia recognized as extreme stress. "No other team will do. The situation is beyond conventional solutions." Olivia sat up straighter. She had heard those words before. They were code for, "We tried everyone else and they failed." "Tell me what happened," she said, already getting up from her comfortable seat. "A quantum tunnel collapsed in the main mining facility on Proxima Moon Y. We have nearly 200 miners trapped underground, but that's not the worst part. The moon is breaking apart due to unusual tidal forces. Our best scientific teams give it less than 12 hours before complete structural failure." "Have other rescue teams tried to help?" The ambassador's tentacles drooped. 3 teams, all failed. The situation was deemed impossible to resolve by Confederation rescue standards. Olivia nodded. Now she understood why they called her team. Throughout the galaxy, when a situation was labeled impossible, there was only one group anyone called: humans. "I'll assemble my team, send all the data to my ship. We'll leave within the hour." The relief in the ambassador's voice was clear. "Thank you, Commander. The Confederation is in your debt. Again." The communication ended and Olivia drained the last of her coffee. So much for her day off. 20 minutes later, Olivia stood in the briefing room of her ship, the Last Resort. The name had been a joke when they first got the vessel, but over time it had become strangely appropriate. Her team sat around the table, studying the information the ambassador had sent. Chief Engineer Alan West scratched his beard as he looked at the structural reports. At 43, he was the oldest member of the team, with gray starting to show in his dark hair. "This doesn't look good, Commander. The moon's core has become unstable. These fractures are spreading fast." Medical Officer Samantha Kelly nodded, her short blonde hair bobbing with the movement. "And the miners have been trapped for over 30 hours already. They'll be facing dehydration, injuries, and possible oxygen depletion." Security Specialist Greg Martinez cleaned his pulse rifle as he listened. His muscular frame seemed too large for the chair he sat in. "What about the other rescue teams? What happened to them?" Olivia pulled up the report. "The Archivians tried to stabilize the fractures with gravity tech. Failed completely. The Meldorians attempted to teleport the miners out but couldn't lock onto them. And the Dravix hunters." She paused. "They tried tunneling in from another angle. They never came back up." The final member of the team, xenobiologist Natalie Rivers, looked up from her datapad with concern in her dark eyes. "There's something strange in these readings. An energy signature that doesn't match anything in the mining operation." The room fell silent as they all processed this information. "So it's not just a rescue," Greg said, checking his weapon again. "There's something else down there." "There always is," Alan replied with a tired smile. "That's why they call us, isn't it?" Olivia nodded. The unspoken truth hung in the air between them. Throughout the galaxy, humans had earned a unique reputation. Not as the strongest species, not as the smartest, not even as the most technologically advanced. But when all hope was lost, when the situation seemed impossible, the Galactic Confederation called humans. "We launch in 15 minutes, Olivia said. "Prepare for emergency drop procedures." As her team moved to their stations, Olivia stopped by the communication room to send a message to Earth Command, informing them of the mission. The face of Admiral Jackson appeared on the screen. "Another impossible rescue, Commander?" he asked with a knowing look. "Appears that way, sir." The Admiral nodded. "Do what you need to do, Daniels. The usual rules apply." "You mean there are no rules?" Olivia replied with a small smile. "Exactly. Save those people if you can. But make sure your team comes home." The communication ended and Olivia made her way to the bridge. The last resort was a small ship, designed for speed rather than comfort. It could reach Proxima Centauri in just under 2 hours at maximum FTL speed. As the ship prepared to leave Earth Station Alpha, Olivia took her seat in the commander's chair. Around her, her team worked efficiently to prepare for departure. They had been together for 5 years now, handling the missions no one else would touch. They all knew the risks. "Last resort to Earth Station Alpha, requesting emergency departure clearance," Alan said into the communication system. "Clearance granted, last resort. Good luck out there." The ship detached from the station and moved quickly away from Earth. Within moments, the FTL drives engaged, and the stars stretched into lines around them as they accelerated to faster-than-light speed. Olivia watched the beautiful light show of FTL travel and thought about what waited for them at Proxima Centauri. A collapsing moon, trapped miners, unknown energy readings, and no working solution in sight. Just another day for a human rescue team, because throughout the galaxy, everyone knew one truth. When all hope was lost, you called the humans, not because they would certainly succeed, but because they would certainly try, even when every logical analysis said failure was inevitable. What the rest of the galaxy didn't understand was why. And that was the real secret Olivia and her team carried with them as they raced toward danger once again. The real reason the galaxy calls human rescue teams. When all hope is lost, the last resort dropped out of FTL speed near Proxima Centauri, the closest star system to Earth. The red dwarf star glowed dimly in the viewport as Olivia and her team prepared for their approach to Proxima Moon Y. "Status report," Olivia called out, looking at the main screen where the moon was now visible. Even from orbit, they could see the massive cracks spreading across its surface like spider webs. "Not good," Alan replied from his station. "The moon's structural integrity is failing faster than the reports indicated. I'd say we have 8 hours at most, not 12. Natalie studied her sensors with a frown. "The energy signature is still present. It's coming from deep within the moon, near where the miners are trapped." "Any idea what it could be?" Olivia asked. "Nothing concrete. It doesn't match any known technology or natural phenomenon in our database." Greg checked the weapons systems, a habit he never broke even on rescue missions. The other rescue teams failed for a reason. We should be prepared for anything. The ship's communication system activated, and a holographic image appeared in the center of the bridge. It showed a crystalline alien with a transparent exoskeleton that revealed shifting colored lights inside its body. "This is Technician Skrell of the Valerian Engineering Corps. I am coordinating rescue efforts from Proxima Orbital Station." "Welcome, humans." Olivia stepped forward. "Commander Daniels of the IERU, we received your distress call. We need to dock and get planetside as soon as possible." The crystalline alien's inner lights flickered. "Of course. Docking Bay 3 is prepared for your arrival. I will meet you there with the latest data." The communication ended and Olivia turned to her team. "Samantha, prepare the medical supplies for 200 potential patients of mixed species. Greg, get the emergency descent module ready. Alan and Natalie, I want you to analyze all the data we have on this moon's composition and that energy signature." As the team moved to their tasks, Olivia watched the fractured moon grow larger in the viewport. Something about this mission felt different, more desperate, more dangerous. But that was why they were here. When the impossible needed to be done, humans got the call. 30 minutes later, the last resort docked with Proxima Orbital Station. The human team stepped out into a bustling emergency command center. Aliens of a dozen different species worked at stations, monitoring the deteriorating moon below. Many stopped to stare as the humans walked by. Technician Skrell approached them, his crystalline body reflecting the emergency lights. "Commander Daniels, thank you for coming so quickly. The situation continues to worsen." The technician led them to a large holographic display showing the interior of the moon. A red section highlighted the trapped miners while fracture lines spread through the structure like disease through a body. The mining colony was extracting quantum particles from the moon's core, Skrell explained. They were using a new tunneling technology that allowed them to reach deeper than ever before. That's when the collapse began. "And the 3 rescue teams?" Olivia asked. The aliens' lights dimmed slightly. The Archivians tried to use gravity stabilizers to hold the fractures in place long enough to evacuate. The technology worked initially, but then failed catastrophically when they encountered the energy signature. Skrell pointed to a pulsing blue dot near the miners. The Meldorians attempted to teleport the miners out, but the energy field disrupted their technology. And the Draviks... His voice trailed off. "What happened to them?" Greg asked. "They went in with drills and excavation equipment. Their communication cut off 3 hours ago. We must assume they were lost when a new series of fractures appeared." Samantha studied the medical readouts. "What's the status of the miners?" 187 life signs remain active. They have emergency supplies and air scrubbers, but injuries are severe for at least 40 individuals. Alan pointed to the fracture patterns. "These aren't natural. The moon shouldn't be breaking apart like this." "Correct," Skrell agreed. "Something is accelerating the process. We believe it's connected to the energy signature." Natalie moved closer to the hologram, examining the blue pulsing light. "Has anyone identified what this energy signature is?" The crystalline alien hesitated. "There are theories. The most probable is that the miners uncovered something ancient, something that was buried in the moon's core." The human team exchanged glances. They had heard stories of ancient artifacts discovered throughout the galaxy. Most were dangerous and all were mysterious. "Why didn't you include this in the initial report?" Olivia asked, her voice sharp. Skrell's inner lights flickered rapidly. "The Confederation Council felt it would be better to brief you in person. They feared you might not come if you knew the full situation." Greg laughed, the sound unexpected in the tense atmosphere. "They don't know humans very well, do they?" Olivia ignored the comment and focused on the hologram. "We need to get down there immediately. Our descent module can handle the instability, but we'll need precise coordinates to reach the miners." "It's too dangerous," Skrell protested. "The moon's fractures are spreading unpredictably. Any descent now would be suicidal." Alan stepped forward with a data pad. "I've calculated a path through the fracture network. If we time it right, we can reach this point here." He pointed to an area near the trapped miners. "It gives us the best chance." Skrell's lights dimmed almost completely. "Best chance? The probability of success is less than 18%. That is below the Confederation's minimum threshold for authorized rescue attempts." Olivia looked at her team. Each one nodded without hesitation. They knew the risks. They accepted them. "Good thing we don't work for the Confederation then," she said. "Earth Command gives us full autonomy on these missions." The alien seemed stunned. "You would attempt a rescue with such low probability of success?" 18% is better than 0, Samantha said quietly. "And those miners get 0 if we do nothing." Something changed in Skrell's posture. His inner lights brightened. "This is why they called for humans. The other species all reached the same conclusion. The risk was too great, the probability too low." "But we calculate risk differently," Olivia finished for him. "Now, are you going to help us get down there, or are we doing this ourselves?" The crystalline alien straightened. "I will provide all assistance possible. But I must note, in the official record that the Confederation does not approve this attempt. Noted, Olivia said. Now let's get moving. We've got miners to save and not much time to do it. As they prepared to leave, Natalie pulled Olivia aside. Commander, I've been studying these energy readings more closely. They're fluctuating in a pattern that suggests intelligence. You think it's alive? I think it's responding to stimuli. And I think it's getting stronger as the moon breaks apart. Olivia absorbed this new information. Keep monitoring it. If you learn anything else, I want to know immediately. The human team moved quickly through the station, gathering their equipment and preparing the descent module. Aliens watched them with a mixture of awe and confusion. To the observers, these humans appeared either incredibly brave or completely insane. But as the team boarded their module and prepared to dive into a dying moon with only an 18% chance of success, none of them questioned their decision. Because that was the real difference between humans and the rest of the galaxy. When faced with impossible odds, humans didn't see certain failure. They saw a chance worth taking. The real reason. The galaxy calls human rescue teams. When all hope is lost. The descent module shook violently as it cut through the fractured crust of Proxima Moon I. Inside, the human team braced against the turbulence. Emergency lights flashed. Red as warning alarms sounded throughout the small craft. Hull integrity at 70%. Alan called out over the noise, his fingers moving quickly across the control panel. The fractures are worse than our scans showed. Olivia gripped, her seat tighter. Can we still make it to the landing zone? Yes, but it's going to be rough. Alan adjusted their course, threading the module between two massive cracks that were visibly widening. I need to change our approach vector. Hold on. The module lurched sideways, barely missing a chunk of moon rock the size of a small house. Everyone was thrown against their restraints. This is insane, Greg muttered, checking his equipment. We're flying into a moon that's literally falling apart. Samantha finished securing the medical supplies. Would you rather be back on the station doing nothing? Greg grinned. Didn't say I wasn't enjoying it. Natalie kept her eyes on her scanner. The energy signature's getting stronger as we get closer. It's pulsing faster now, almost like a heartbeat. The descent continued for another 10 minutes before Alan finally slowed the module to a stop inside a relatively stable cavern. The walls around them glowed with strange blue lights embedded in the rock. We're about half a kilometer from the miner's position, Alan said, studying the map. The good news is this section seems more stable than the rest of the moon. And the bad news? Olivia asked. The miners are on the other side of the energy source. The team suited up in their specialized rescue gear. Each suit was designed to withstand extreme conditions and provide life support for up to 24 hours. They were heavy, but flexible, allowing for full range of movement. Greg checked everyone's weapons. Standard protocol for rescue missions included defensive capabilities, especially in unknown situations. The pulse rifles were set to stun by default, but could be adjusted if necessary. Remember, Olivia said as they prepared to exit the module, our primary objective is to reach the miners and get them to safety. We investigate the energy source only if it's necessary for the rescue. Or if it's trying to kill us, Greg added. That, too, Olivia agreed. They stepped out into the cavern, their helmet lights cutting through the dusty air. The ground beneath their feet trembled periodically, a reminder that the entire moon was slowly tearing itself apart. This way, Alan said, pointing to a tunnel that led deeper into the moon. The miners' emergency shelter should be through here. As they moved through the tunnel, they began to notice strange markings on the walls. They looked like writing, but not in any language they recognized. The blue lights grew brighter, pulsing in a steady rhythm. These aren't mining tunnels, Natalie said, running her scanner over the walls. They're too perfect, too symmetrical. These were carved with precision. By what? Samantha asked. Not by the miners, Natalie replied. These markings are millions of years old. The tunnel opened up into a vast chamber that took their breath away. The ceiling rose at least 50 meters above them, perfectly domed and covered in the same strange writing. In the center of the chamber floated a large blue-green crystal. pulsing with energy that sent waves of light across the walls. "That's our energy source," Natalie whispered, her scanner going wild. "It's putting out more power than a small star but containing it somehow." Olivia checked her map. "The miners should be through that passage on the far side. We need to cross the chamber." As they started to move forward, the crystal's pulsing suddenly increased. Beams of light shot out from it, scanning each of them from head to toe. "Don't move," Olivia ordered. "No one fire. Let's not antagonize, whatever this is." After a tense moment, the scanning beams disappeared. The crystal's light dimmed slightly, and strange symbols appeared in the air around it, glowing and shifting. "It's communicating," Natalie said excitedly. "These are mathematical sequences. Universal language." "What's it saying?" Greg asked, his weapon still ready. "I'm not sure yet, but it seems to be running some kind of program or sequence." Natalie studied the symbols. It might be a test or puzzle. A deep rumble shook the chamber, stronger than before. Dust and small rocks fell from the ceiling. "We don't have time for puzzles," Olivia decided. "We need to reach those miners. Let's go around the crystal and stay close to the walls." They began to circle the chamber, keeping their distance from the floating crystal. As they neared the halfway point, a section of the wall suddenly slid open, revealing a hidden passage. "That wasn't on our maps," Alan said. From the dark passage stumbled a figure in a mining suit, limping badly. Behind it came more figures, supporting each other as they emerged into the chamber. "The miners!" Samantha rushed forward to help the first one, who collapsed into her arms. "They've found a way out on their own." The team quickly moved to assist. The miners. There were about 20 of them in this group, all looking exhausted and injured. Samantha began checking their conditions while the others helped them sit against the chamber walls. The lead miner, a tall, thin alien with gray skin, spoke weakly. "Are you the rescue team?" "Yes," Olivia replied. "I'm Commander Daniels. We're here to get you out." "There are more of us," the miner gasped. "About 160 still in the emergency shelter. We were sent to find help when our communications failed." "What happened down here?" Olivia asked. "What is that crystal?" The miner's four eyes blinked slowly. "We were following a new vein of quantum particles. We broke through into this chamber 2 days ago. When our drills hit the outer wall, the crystal activated. Then the quakes began." Natalie was still studying the floating symbols. "Commander, I think I understand some of this now. The crystal is generating the forces that are breaking the moon apart. It's deliberate." "Why would it do that?" Greg asked. "I think it's some kind of containment breach protocol," Natalie replied. "Like a self-destruct sequence, we triggered it when we entered this chamber." Another violent tremor shook the room, lasting longer than the previous ones. Large chunks of ceiling crashed down around them. "We need to move now," Olivia decided. "Greg and Alan help these miners back to our module. Samantha, go with them and start treatment. Natalie and I will continue to the shelter and guide the rest out." "What about that?" Greg pointed to the crystal. "If it's causing the moon to break apart, can we shut it down?" Natalie shook her head. "I don't know. These symbols are only giving us part of the picture. It would take days to fully understand how it works, which we don't have," Olivia finished. "Our priority is saving the miners. We'll worry about the crystal if we have time." As the team split up, Natalie grabbed Olivia's arm. "Commander, there's something else. The symbol patterns, they keep repeating a sequence. I think it's some kind of countdown." "To what?" "I'm not sure. But based on the rate of collapse, I'd estimate we have less than 3 hours before this moon is completely destroyed." Olivia nodded grimly. "Then we better move fast." As Greg, Alan, and Samantha began helping the injured miners back toward the descent module, Olivia and Natalie headed for the passage to the emergency shelter. Behind them, the crystal's pulsing grew more intense, filling the chamber with waves of blue-green light. Whatever ancient technology they had stumbled upon, it was clear that it was testing them somehow. And the test was getting more dangerous by the minute. The real reason the galaxy calls human rescue teams. When all hope is lost, Olivia and Natalie moved quickly through the narrow passages leading to the miners' emergency shelter. The walls here showed signs of recent drilling, unlike the perfectly carved tunnels near the crystal chamber. Every few minutes, tremors shook the ground beneath their feet, and small rocks fell from the ceiling. "The quakes are getting stronger," Olivia noted as they paused at a junction to check their map. Natalie nodded, her eyes still on her scanner. The crystal's energy output increased by 18% in the last 20 minutes. At this rate, the moon will break apart completely in less than 2 hours. That's less time than you estimated before. "The process is accelerating," Natalie replied grimly. "It's like the crystal is responding to our presence. The more we do, the faster it works." They continued forward, following the emergency beacons the miners had placed along their escape route. After 10 more minutes of careful navigation through increasingly unstable tunnels, they reached a large metal door built into the rock wall. "This is it," Olivia said, moving to the control panel beside the door. She pressed the communication button. "This is Commander Daniels of the Interstellar Emergency Response Unit. We're here to get you out." Static crackled for a moment before a weak voice responded. "This is Supervisor Jorax. We have 158 people inside. Many are injured." "We're opening the door now," Olivia replied. "We have a descent module and are in contact with our ship. We'll get everyone out, but we need to move quickly." The heavy door slid open with a grinding noise. Inside, the shelter was crowded with miners of various species. Many sat or lay on the floor while others leaned against the walls. The air was stale and warm. Medical supply containers were scattered around, most empty. A stocky alien with mottled brown skin approached them. 4 arms extended from his torso, and his wide face showed signs of exhaustion. "Supervisor Jorax," he introduced himself. "We thought no one was coming after the first 3 rescue teams failed." "Well, we're here now," Olivia said. "But this moon is breaking apart faster than expected. We need to evacuate immediately." Jorax nodded. "We've prepared as best we could. The most seriously injured are ready for transport." Samantha's voice came through Olivia's communicator. "Commander, we've got the first group safely to the module. Alan is preparing it for the first evacuation run. How many more can we expect?" "About 160 more," Olivia replied. "Many with injuries. How many can the module take in one trip?" 40 at most, if we pack them in tight." Olivia did the quick math. "That means at least 4 more trips. How long per round trip to the orbital station?" "About 30 minutes, plus loading and unloading time." "That's cutting it close," Olivia muttered. "Start the first run as soon as possible. Natalie and I will organize the miners here and begin moving them toward the extraction point." "Understood. First group launching in 5 minutes." Olivia turned to address the waiting miners. "Listen up. We're going to evacuate in groups. Our module can take 40 at a time. The most seriously injured will go first. Each group will need to follow our marked path to the extraction point where my team members will guide you aboard." As the miners began organizing themselves, Natalie pulled Olivia aside. "Commander, there's something we need to discuss. The crystal. What about it? I've been analyzing the symbol patterns, and I believe it's more than just an ancient security system. The mathematical sequences it's projecting are incredibly complex. They look like instructions." "Instructions for what?" "I'm not sure yet. But what if this is more than just a self-destruct sequence? What if the crystal is testing us somehow?" Olivia frowned. "Testing us? For what purpose?" "Many ancient civilizations left behind technology designed to evaluate species that found it, to determine if they were worthy of receiving knowledge or power." A particularly violent tremor interrupted their conversation. Cracks appeared in the shelter's ceiling, and several miners cried out in fear. "Worthy or not, we need to focus on the evacuation," Olivia said firmly. "Once everyone is safe, we can worry about ancient tests." She activated her communicator again. "Greg, what's your status?" "I'm at the extraction point with the first 40 miners. Module is almost loaded. But Commander, the crystal is doing something new. It's projecting some kind of energy barrier around itself. The passages near it are starting to collapse. Can we still get the miners through?" "For now, yes, but it's getting worse by the minute." Olivia turned to Supervisor Jorax. "We need to move now. Get the first group ready to follow us." For the next 30 minutes, Olivia and Natalie guided the first group of injured miners through the tunnels toward the extraction point. The journey was slow and difficult. Many miners could barely walk, and the constant tremors made the tunnels increasingly dangerous. When they finally reached the crystal chamber, they found Greg waiting for them. The chamber had changed dramatically. The floating crystal now glowed with intense light, and energy beams shot from it in all directions, creating a web-like pattern throughout the space. Parts of the ceiling had collapsed, and the remaining structure groaned under increasing stress. "The module just left with the first group," Greg reported. "Alan says he'll be back in 25 minutes for the next load." "That's too long," Natalie said, checking her scanner. "These readings indicate total structural failure within 90 minutes max." Olivia assessed the situation quickly. "We need a way to slow down the crystal's effect on the moon, at least until we can get everyone out." Natalie's eyes widened. "I might have an idea. Those symbols the crystal is projecting, I think they're waiting for a response. It's like a puzzle or a code that needs to be solved." "Can you solve it?" Olivia asked. "Maybe part of it. If I'm right, it might buy us some time." "Do it." While Greg continued organizing the miners and establishing a safe path across the chamber, Natalie approached the crystal. She studied the floating symbols intently, then began inputting calculations into her scanner. After several minutes, she projected a new set of symbols from her device toward the crystal. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then the crystal's pulsing slowed and some of the energy beams retracted. The tremors didn't stop completely, but they became less frequent. "It worked," Natalie exclaimed. "I only solved part of the sequence, but it seems to have slowed the process." "How much time did we gain?" Olivia asked. "Maybe an hour, but I can't be sure. The crystal is adaptive. It might adjust to my solution." Greg's communicator activated. "The second group is safely at the extraction point. Third group is on its way. But we've got a new problem. The Dravix team we thought was lost? We just found them trapped in a side passage near the crystal. They're alive but can't move without help." Olivia made a quick decision. "Greg, stay with the miners. Keep them moving toward the extraction point. Natalie, continue working on that crystal. I'll go find the Dravix team." As she turned to leave, Natalie caught her arm. "Commander, I think I understand what this crystal is now. It's not just causing destruction, it's measuring our response to it. The way we react to the crisis, the choices we make. You're saying it's judging us?" "Yes, and I think that's why the other rescue teams failed. They approached it differently than we are." Olivia considered this for a moment. "Keep working on the puzzle. Whatever this thing wants from us, our priority is saving lives. If that's what it's judging, then so be it." She headed into the tunnels, following Greg's directions to the trapped Dravix team. Behind her, the crystal continued to pulse, watching and waiting, as if evaluating every decision they made. The real reason. The galaxy calls human rescue teams. When all hope is lost, Olivia found the trapped Dravix rescue team in a small side tunnel that had partially collapsed. The Dravix were reptilian aliens known for their strength and hunting skills. Now 3 of them lay pinned beneath fallen rocks while 2 others worked desperately to free their companions. "I'm Commander Daniels," Olivia said, approaching cautiously. The Dravix were known to be aggressive when threatened. "We're here to get you out." The largest Dravix turned to her, yellow eyes blinking in the dim light. "Human? They sent humans?" Despite his obvious injuries, there was a note of respect in his rough voice. "Yes. Now let's get your people free. This whole moon is coming apart." Together they managed to move the rocks and free the trapped Dravix. All were injured, but alive. Olivia helped them back toward the crystal chamber, where she found the evacuation continuing under Greg's supervision. Alan's voice came through her communicator. "Commander, the module is on its 3rd run. We've evacuated about 80 miners. So far, the last resort is making trips to the orbital station and back as fast as possible." "Good work," Olivia replied. "We found the Dravix team. They're injured but mobile." "What about the crystal?" "The moon's vibrations are getting stronger again." Olivia looked across the chamber where Natalie still worked frantically with her scanner, projecting symbols toward the floating crystal. The crystal's pulsing had increased again and more energy beams shot out from it. Natalie is working on it. How many more trips will we need? At least 3 more to get everyone out, Alan replied. But at this rate, I'm not sure the moon will hold together that long. Olivia made her way to Natalie's side. What's happening? It's adapting to my solution, Natalie said, frustration clear in her voice. It's like it's learning from me. Every time I solve part of the sequence, it creates a more complex one. Can you keep up with it? I'm trying, but... A violent tremor interrupted her words, nearly knocking them both off their feet. A large section of the chamber's ceiling crashed down, narrowly missing a group of miners waiting for evacuation. We're out of time, Olivia decided. We need to get everyone onto the module when it returns, even if we have to overload it. Natalie shook her head. Even packed to absolute capacity, we can't fit everyone in one trip, and the module won't withstand another landing if the moon gets much more unstable. Then what do you suggest? Natalie looked at the crystal. I think I understand what it wants now. It's not just testing our intelligence with these puzzles, it's testing our priorities. Meaning what? Look at what's happening. It's creating an impossible situation. Save the people or solve the puzzle. The other rescue teams might have focused too much on understanding the crystal, on containing the threat, but we're focusing on saving lives first. Olivia considered this. So what's the right answer? What does it want us to do? I don't think there is a right answer. I think it's measuring something else entirely. Natalie's eyes widened with sudden understanding. Commander, I need to try something. She adjusted her scanner and projected a completely new set of symbols toward the crystal. Instead of mathematical sequences, these were simpler. The crystal's pulsing changed rhythm. The energy beams withdrew and the tremors subsided slightly. What did you do? Olivia asked. I stopped trying to solve its puzzle and instead showed it what we're doing. I sent data about our rescue efforts, about the choices we're making to save lives even at risk to ourselves. And it responded to that? Yes. I think that's what it's been looking for all along. Not the correct solution, but the choices we make when faced with an impossible situation. Before they could discuss further, Alan's voice came through the communicator again. Module is on final approach. This will be the last landing it can safely make. The moon is breaking up too quickly now. Understood, Olivia replied. We'll be ready. She turned to address the remaining miners and the Dravix team. Listen up. The module will be here soon for its final run. We need to move quickly and in order. Greg approached with a concerned look. Commander, we still have about 70 people, including us and the Dravix. The module can't take that many, even packed to capacity. Olivia knew he was right. They were facing the same impossible choice that had been presented to them from the beginning. Not everyone would fit. She made her decision. The injured go first, then the miners. My team will stay behind and find another way out. The Dravix leader stepped forward. No, my team will remain. This failure is our responsibility. No one is staying behind. Natalie interrupted. She was still by the crystal, her scanner projecting data toward it. I think I understand what needs to be done. The crystal was now glowing brighter than ever, but the destructive energy beams had disappeared. Instead, it projected a new set of symbols into the air around it. It's offering us a choice, Natalie explained excitedly. These new symbols are coordinates, locations throughout the galaxy where other artifacts like this one exist. That's fascinating, Olivia said impatiently. But how does it help us get out of here? Because it's also offering us this. Natalie pointed to another symbol. I think it's a transportation system. The crystal can teleport us out. The Meldorians tried teleportation. It failed, Greg reminded her. Yes, because they tried to impose their technology on the crystal. But if we accept its offer, use its system, she looked at Olivia. It's a leap of faith. Do we trust it? The module landed at the edge of the chamber. Alan emerged, waving urgently. Commander, we need to load up now. The moon won't last another 30 minutes. Olivia looked at the waiting miners, her team, and then at the crystal. Throughout her career, she had made impossible choices, taken risks others wouldn't consider. That was what humans did. That was why they were called when all hope was lost. Natalie, accept its offer. Everyone else, prepare yourselves. Natalie input a final command into her scanner. The crystal's light grew to blinding intensity, filling the entire chamber with blue-green energy. For a moment, everything seemed to freeze. Then the world dissolved around them. When Olivia could see again, she found herself standing on the deck of the last resort. Around her, all the miners, the Dravix team, and her own people appeared, looking just as confused as she felt. Through the viewports, she could see Proxima Moon Wine breaking apart in a spectacular display of light and energy. It worked, Natalie whispered beside her. It saved us all. 12 hours later, the last resort docked at Proxima Orbital Station. All the miners and the Dravix team had been treated for their injuries. None had been lost. In the station's conference room, Ambassador Zilktuar waited for Olivia's team. His tentacles moved excitedly as they entered. Commander Daniels, you've done the impossible. Again, the Confederation Council is both impressed and concerned about your report on this ancient artifact. We didn't have many options, Olivia replied simply. That is precisely the point, the ambassador said. When faced with the same choices, 3 other rescue teams failed. They approached the problem as they had been trained, with caution, with protocol, with logical risk assessment. And we didn't? You approached it as humans always do. When faced with an impossible choice between solving a puzzle and saving lives, you chose lives without hesitation. When presented with unacceptable risk, you accepted it anyway. Natalie stepped forward. The crystal was testing exactly that. Not our technology or our intelligence, but our priorities. The ambassador's tentacles twisted thoughtfully. And that is why, Commander, the galaxy calls human rescue teams when all hope is lost. Not because you will always succeed, but because you will always try, even when logic says you should not. Olivia looked at her team, tired but proud. Well, it's a good thing the galaxy has us then. Indeed, the ambassador agreed, because now we know the real reason the ancients left their artifacts scattered throughout the galaxy. They were looking for worthy successors. And it seems, Commander, they may have found them in humanity. As the last resort departed for Earth, the next day, Olivia stood on the bridge looking at the star map Natalie had compiled from the crystal's data. Dozens of points of light marked the locations of other ancient artifacts waiting to be discovered, other impossible situations waiting to be faced, other chances for humanity to show the galaxy why they were the ones to call when all hope was lost.